within capacity optimization, besides telling you that something overutilized and underutilized, we have different areas such as what-if scenarios. So I'll just use Exchange because we modeled it out. I've got an Exchange environment, and I've got 5,000 users on it. And I just find out within the DoD I'm going to be taking a new command into my data center. They've got another 1,000 users. Can my Exchange environment handle that? We can do a what-if scenario and simulate that and figure out what's going to break, where it's going to break, why it's going to break, and plan accordingly. In a virtualization environment, it's absolutely amazing. So it's not just underutilized and overutilized. It changes that to under-provisioned and over-provisioned. So I'm sure all of us have the scenario of a user or a group comes to us and says, hey, I need a virtual machine. I need 5,000 CPUs and 20 terabytes of RAM on that one virtual machine. I know that's an exaggeration, but most people err not on the side of being really on what they seem to be the side of being cautious by overly provisioning a VM. So we can actually go look at all that information and say, you know what? Instead of using 4 CPUs, you're really only using 2 CPUs, and instead of using 16 gigs of RAM, you're actually only using 8 gigs of RAM. We need to back this thing down. But we also do the opposite. Let's say somebody didn't request enough resources. These are going to be our under-provisioned VMs, and we need to increase our resources on these boxes. And then we look at storage and how much storage you're using, and then we look at, the most evil thing known to man, snapshots. Snapshots are great and they're efficient, but if we don't clean them up, they will kill us in storage. So we'll go through and we'll show you how much storage you're using by VM and basically how much snapshot space that thing is taking. And last but not least on that, we can actually go through and do a VM mapping within capacity planning and just show you have 27, let's just say ESX servers, just for conversation's sake, and we've got 500 VMs. It will say to be the most efficient possible, these 8 VMs go on server A, these 22 VMs go on server B, these 110 VMs go on server C, and maps it out for you to get the best and most efficient utilization across all of your hardware. True story. We went into an environment on a proof of concept, and we saved them $1 million on day one. And basically what had happened is they had $1 million hardware order in to add additional capacity, and when we went in and did a capacity study, they realized they had more than enough capacity within their existing environment. They just weren't using it efficiently.
Wow. And that's with BCO, not just
Correct.
Discovery, right? Okay.
Correct.
Got it. Okay. All right. Here's another question. He says, actually, I have 3 questions. Number 1, do the EOL and EOS and other date fields get mapped into the CMDB?
Yes, that data can be carried over.
Okay. Are the extended contract dates something that you have to configure in Discovery?
So what that is it is just like the TKU, we have an EOL file that we produce monthly, and that has the updated dates in it because obviously dates change. And you just download that zip file. The EOL zip file is typically under a meg every month. And you just import that in, and it automatically updates all that information within Discovery. There's nothing manual that you have to do with that. So it's just literally a 10-minute, once-a-month task that you download that zip file, import it, and you're done for the month to keep that completely up to date.
Okay, sounds straightforward. And then the last one is I noticed some features in Discovery that are currently not available in my version of CMDB. Do I need to upgrade ITSM in order to access some of these new features, or will upgrading to Discovery 11 be sufficient?
There's really not enough data there to answer that question appropriately. I'd be happy to take that one offline to talk versions and things like that. Depending on the version of the CMDB, there may need to be, not an upgrade to the CMDB, but there may need to be a schema extension done. But I wouldn't be able to tell you yes or no on that until we had all the information, from that standpoint. But upgrading your version of BMC Discovery will absolutely give you all the new features that you're seeing here today. The question would be, would the integration carry all those new features into the CMDB? And that would be that discussion.
Okay. All right. So we'll need to look at that a little bit more. Another one is NERC/CIP and multi-tenancy when linked to ITSM. Please discuss how separation is controlled from the CMDB. What does that mean? What is NRC/CIP?
Well, if we're doing multi-tenancy and keeping data separately, what we would probably do, and again, this is going to dig into that architecture and talking to the services guys, but just talking out loud here, generally speaking, you would have a data. So the data from BMC Discovery is dumped into a discovery data set in the CMDB. What I would probably do is obviously you're going to have different appliances for your different customers. So that appliance would only dump to that customer A's data set, and then customer A's data set would only get promoted to customer A's information within ITSM. So we would be able to keep that separate. But no, we can handle the multi-tenancy side of things. There are a number of ways we can do that, and that's a great detailed conversation that we can have as consultants as well as our services organization can discuss how that's been handled at a number of our production customers.
Okay. And it looks like here the last one, it says, is Insight a rebranding of PPM? And is PPM, does that mean Project Portfolio Management? What is PPM?
I'm not sure on that question.
Yeah. Okay, we'll have to get back to you on that one. I don't know.
But the rebranding that you're seeing here, just to be clear, is Atrium Discovery and Dependency Mapping, lovingly known as BMC ADDM, was renamed BMC Discovery. There is no major difference, as you can see if you've been using it before, have looked at it before. Looks and feel very similar. We changed a little bit of the UI in version 11, but all the features that you know and love are there. It was just a name change in the purest sense.